Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 183 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, welcome back to episode 183 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I hope you will stay for a very long time. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to support me. Your love and support and encouragement truly gets me through, and I couldn't do this without you, so thank you. Before we get started with this week's episode, I want to be really foundational. It's very important to me that we take a moment to talk about this house, this safe space that we're creating. And with this house, this safe space that we're creating, I like to talk about the foundation. And the foundation is built on two very important things, and that is clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. I just like to make sure that you understand that I created the Well Done Life because I believe that women are the foundation of society. I believe that we need places and spaces to be our most authentic self, that we can learn together, laugh together, cry together, we can inspire each other and be inspired. So I hope that while you're here and I'm sharing my journey with you and spotlighting other amazing women, that you see yourself in them, that you see yourself in me, and that you recognize, you know what, you can do this too. None of us have a magic trick. None of us have a magic prayer. All prayers matter in here, but really it's about just putting the dedication to ourselves, the dedication and consistency to wanting to be the best and being authentic with where we've been to where we are right now. So welcome. You are totally safe and supported here. And then along that line, that leads me into my second favorite thing, my second foundation, which is love. I think the love is the root of everything that we will do in this space. And I love love. I'm a sucker for love, as many of you guys know. And one of the things that I like to do before we really dive in is I like to make sure that I send you prayers. It is very important to me to pray for you because I really do believe that when two or more people come together in prayer, our prayers are magnified. And so I want to make sure that this week I am sending you prayers of peace. It is wild in the streets. Audacity is running wild. There is just so many things that we are encountering on our journeys to be our best self. So I want to make sure that you are carving out pockets of peace for yourself, that you're giving yourself a moment to stand still. It is something that I have been struggling with personally myself. I've been constantly in motion because of everything that I'm doing for the reset. And I'm really excited about this event. It truly is, like I said, my heart's extension. But I'm also learning, or have been told, that I need to take a pause. I need to sit down for a moment, and that moment won't last long. We're just talking about a matter of days, probably. But at the same time, it is a moment where I can allow my mind to rest, where I can be imparted into, where I can have a chance to regulate my body and my energy. I want that same thing for you, because when we're able to regulate our body and our energy, our minds, our hearts, and everything is coming into alignment, that is where we truly find the best of ourselves. As I've kind of mentioned before in some of my healing journey, as I've learned, when I'm not mentally right, my physical is right behind it. It's not right. It totally ripples into everything that I do. So it is very important to me to carve out those spaces of peace so that I can just dial back into me, and I want you to dial back into you. So I am sending you prayers this week of peace. I hope you have a moment where you can dial back into you. And then along that line, like I said earlier, audacity is running wild in the streets. So I am praying for you to have the patience of Job. Yes, I am praying for you to have prayers of patience. Because people, like I said, people, places, things, situations, life will life, and things will happen. And you have to have patience to sit in the journey. You know, a lot of times the plans that we have, we're ready to go forward and we think everything is in alignment. And sometimes we come to a pass and we come to a moment where we have to stop and recalibrate. And we recalibrate for a number of reasons. But in that recalibration, sometimes, we get discouraged. And it's easy to get worried and concerned that your dream isn't going to come to life. Let me tell you, in this moment of recalibration, these moments of kind of resetting and refocusing our mind, that doesn't mean that the journey is not going to happen. That doesn't mean that the dream is not going to happen. It's just, this is a moment where you have to just really look at being patient, where you have to understand that you are delayed and not denied. And believe me, when I'm talking about this right now, I'm preaching to you and preaching to myself, because I'm definitely being faced with having to learn how to sit in patience. But I also know that when God closes doors, when he stops you indoors, that means that there is something even more abundant coming. And you have to have that mindset of expectation. You have to have that heart for it. So I am praying that in this season of patience, because I know we all kind of are going through things that require us to be a little bit more patient than what we thought. I don't want you to ever lose sight of the fact that it is still your time. I don't want you to lose sight of the fact that this is still your blessing. You are just delayed but not denied, and that there is something even more important for you to learn in this season. And that's kind of like what I've really been leaning into. And so I'm definitely sending prayers of you for that for you. I am praying that you will learn the lessons in this season, because if we don't take a moment to really tap into those lessons, we wind up doomed to repeat them. And we have to get to a point in our lives. I know I've gotten to a point in my lives where I'm tired of repeating old cycles. That means that my energy has to change. My mindset has to change. And so I am giving myself the space to do that. So I hope that you will give yourself the space to do that you will embrace patience, that you will find peace in patience, and that it will serve you as you are moving closer and closer to your next level. So like I said, I wanted to make sure I gave you a prayer of patience. And along that prayer of patience, along that prayer of peace, I want you, like I said, to embrace the fact that this is still your time. I want you to be very diligent about you. I want you to stand on business. So yes, I am sending you prayers of being able to stand on business. I want you to stand on business for yourself, because you need to understand that you bring a wealth of knowledge. You bring a wealth of skills to whatever you do. You bring heart, you bring peace, you are a light bringer. And so you don't want your light to ever be diminished because you don't believe in that light. Because the way that we cultivate the light is by continuously believing in ourselves, by recognizing that the things that sometimes we get told in our minds, or the things that sometimes people have the audacity to say to you, are not necessarily a reflection of you. They're a reflection of manifestations of fear. They're a reflection of that other person's fears. So you can't allow that to be taken into yourself. You have to stand on business about who you are. You have to know your worth and stand in that worth comfortably. So I am praying that you are able to stand in your worth comfortably. Stand on business about you. And of course, as you're standing on business about you, you will stand on business about business. You will stand on business about your family. You'll stand on business about your life. Stand on business because it is what you are deserving of. That's ultimately, to me, what standing on business is about. It's about knowing your worth and deciding that you are not going to take less, and you are not going to allow people to play in your face. You don't have to stand in your business. That doesn't mean that you have to get out of character and not let people play in your face. It's just being able to have the discernment to recognize those people who do not have your best interest and make adjustments. And it's not easy. It sounds so easy for me to say it. It is something that I have struggled with, but I am totally sending this prayer to yourself, to me, to all of us out here, to recognize that we don't have to worry about the people who mean us harm, because the people who mean us harm, who don't have the best of intentions, who aren't aligned to our purposes and visions, they will naturally remove themselves because we are standing on business. When you start to stand on business, when you start to hold people accountable and hold yourself accountable for making sure that you show your worth, that you value who you are, some people can't take it, and they will naturally remove themselves because you're not who you used to be. You're not willing to accept anything. Don't accept anything. You do not have to accept anything. You are worth more than just any old thing. So stand on business about yourself, because you are amazing. You are a vessel. You are a light, and you should be treated as such. And then finally, wrapping out my prayers this week, I want to pray for you to have abundance. Abundance is always something that I pray for, because I want you to be abundant financially. I want you to be abundant spiritually. I want you to be surrounded in abundant energy. You don't need to be surrounded in a season of lack, because lack-minded situations, lack-minded people are not going to help move you to your next level. You have to stay around people who believe in abundance, who speak a life, and who live abundantly, because that energy rubs off into you. Go ahead and claim that season, that you are abundant, that you are a bringer of light, that you manifest money, that money comes to you, money works for you. It's not your enemy, and that all of your goals are work for you. You are able to control and move through things easily and smoothly because you know who you belong to. You know who you are. You know you're a God's child. You know that there is nothing that you are going to face that you can't overcome. Yes, it'll get hard in the season. Yes, you'll have to roll your sleeves up and do the work. But ultimately, you know who you were called to be, and you are willing to stand on business about you and reclaim your peace and be able to be the person that you can be so that you can move forward in abundance. So those are my prayers for you this week. And I hope that you feel my love. Like I said, I'm ministering to you and ministering to myself. And so we're all in this together, and I'm believing great things for us. And I am so grateful, like I said, to have you on this journey with me. So I am recording today on Wednesday, March the 20th at 11:07 p.m. And I'm really glad to be with you guys. I took a small reset myself last week, and I want to thank you guys for your grace. I hope that while I was gone, you got a chance to enjoy episode 182, the Reset Experience with me, and the Brandonista herself, Tita Walker, my amazing event producer for the Reset. Because yes, the Reset is an event that I am working on for women that will be taking place here in Orlando, Florida. It was originally slated for April the 20th, 2024, but we are actually changing the date. Yes, the event is actually now moving to August the 24th, and at the same place, the Wave Lake Nona Hotel. Same amazing speaker, Yasmin Cheyenne, and a wonderful host of women, other speakers who will be there as well to help encourage and pour into you as we dive deep into four main pillars. And that is physical health, mental health, financial health, and building community, because I've learned on the journey that those are essential. But again, if you still want to learn more about the event before you buy your ticket, I suggest you listen to episode 182. And the reason that we are changing the date is because I felt like we just needed to have a little bit more time to make this a little bit stronger. I wanted to make sure that when I come to the market, you know I came to the market. So I promise you, there won't be any other changes. I am very confident that August the 24th, 2024 is our date. And I am very excited about what we're going to be able to do in this season, because I know God had to redirect me so that he can elevate me. And I promise you will be benefiting from that elevation when we have our event in August. And so you'll hear me talk more about it. But in the meantime, if you kind of wanted to get like a sneak preview, check out episode 182, the Reset Experience with Tita and I, as we kind of talk through everything and you learn a little bit more about my passion, my reason for doing this, because I believe in women, and I'm going to create those spaces online and in person for us to come together, heal, grow, learn, share, and impart and build community together. And I want you to be a part of it. So I hope you get a chance to check it out. But this week, I'm very excited to be back with a brand new episode and a guest. Yes, I have a guest for you. I had an opportunity to have a really great conversation with the founder and CEO of the Silkenn skin brand, as well as Behind the Silk podcast, Ericka Parker. And we talked about her journey to starting her skincare brand, which will be launching soon, as well as her podcast, her purpose, how she got started in skincare, and so much more. And she is an amazing woman, so inspiring, very young, but very intentional, very focused, very diligent on the path that she's going and betting on herself, and has so much wisdom to share. So I am very excited about sharing our conversation with you. So if you will grab a cup of water, wine, whatever floats your boat, tea, sit back and relax and reset. Ericka will be with you in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here, and just thank you again for sharing your platform with me.
My pleasure.
Yes, I am a brand founder. I am a podcaster. It's been a journey, and I just can't wait to kind of dive into it all.
Well, of course. And yes, it definitely is a journey in podcasting, and we'll talk more about it. But I guess first and foremost, how did you get started, Ericka? Like, what motivated you to decide that you wanted to found Behind the Silk?
Yeah, so Behind the Silk is really an extension of my skincare brand, Silkenn. And the reason I wanted to start the podcast is because I wanted to continue the conversation.
Hmm.
Our motto is to go more than skin deep. So Silkenn is all about the exterior, it's about the skin, it's about looking good and feeling good and protecting our skin, all the outside stuff. But there's so much more that goes into it because we all know beauty starts internally, feeling good starts internally. So the point of the podcast is to really have conversations about self-care and how we can have a better quality of life and exploring different self-care practices because life be lifing. And
Oh God,
sometimes we just
yes.
need to wheel it in, and we just need
Yes.
a community of support. So we know that we're all on the same page and we're all on this journey together.
Oh, absolutely. And skincare is definitely one of my favorite things. It truly is something I take very seriously, especially as I've gotten older. How did you get started, obviously, in skincare? When did you decide to found your brand, Silken?
Yeah, so I've always been a skincare girly back from the 2015, 2016 YouTube days when that
Okay.
was a big thing. The
Yes.
makeup skincare community was on
Hmm.
and popping at that time. If you had to be there.
Yes, it was. It
And
was a good time. I was.
it was. Um, and I've always had a passion for skincare. And then come 2019 was just a whirlwind of a year for me. I suffered a traumatic loss. My dad passed away, and that just rocked my world. And I
Yes.
went through this like it wasn't even a quarter life crisis because I was my early 20s. So it was a life crisis. We're like, I don't know
Mm.
what else to call it. And
Yeah.
I just started having all of these questions about, well, what do I want to do? What's happening? My
Mhm.
dad worked up until the day he passed. And I was like, is this the life that I want for myself? So I went on this whole sabbatical. So I up and quit my job. Don't recommend it for everyone. I was like, I've had enough. I up and
Okay.
quit my job. Didn't tell anyone. I remember when my mom would still call me to check in. I would like, hey, I can't talk. I'm at work. Didn't want to
Girl.
tell anyone that I quit because I knew the judgment that was going to come from it. I knew the
Yes.
judgment. So, and I packed my bags and I took those 6 months and I traveled. And that was the
Okay.
second half of 2019. And my plan was to come back with a newfounded purpose, a new vision.
Mhm.
And I did. I came back January of 2020, ready to take on the world.
I
And the
love
world had
that.
other plans.
Oh yeah, of course. That definitely is how it always works too. Okay,
Yeah.
I have a total question that I have to. So, okay, you didn't tell your mother. When did you finally tell your mom that you stopped working?
Pandemic. The pandemic when I couldn't hide it anymore because obviously I
Okay.
wasn't traveling, so now I'm home and it's those past 6 months when I was ignoring your phone calls and kind of doing my own thing and only talking to you
Girl.
between 6 and 12. Yeah, I was
Oh
out and
my
about because I quit my
God.
job.
How does she take that?
She took it better than anticipated. And I think it's because by the time I came back, I had already had a plan for what I wanted
Mhm.
for my future. I think when I
Okay.
quit, I was so confused and I didn't have a plan. So I didn't know how to communicate it to anybody else because it didn't make
Right.
sense. You
Mhm.
had your degree, you were on the right track, you had a job
Yeah.
that was in your field. That's rare for most people post grad to get a job right in their field immediately. I was making
Right.
really good money for my age and you
Uh-huh.
quit. What are you doing?
Yeah,
Hello.
that's totally anti-parent mindset.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
don't think she would have seen the vision because I didn't have it yet. So,
Well, it's good that you gave yourself that kind of grace to do it. I definitely know that must have been super stressful trying to keep mom off your tail because moms know everything. They know, and they know
right?
when we're lying to them. They're
That's
like
true. That's why
assassins.
that's why we avoid. That's why
Yes,
we avoid.
totally. I wish. I totally get that. So during that time when you took your sabbatical, where did you travel to? Where did you go?
Yeah, so I was going all across the US,
Okay.
Arizona, Utah. I did Canada, all across the Caribbean,
Hmm.
Bermuda, Jamaica. I was US, Caribbean, Canada. I was
That
outside.
was it. You were
I was there
outside,
for me.
outside.
And it was great. And throughout that process, skincare was big for me because
Okay.
now I had lost my routine because now
Hmm.
I'm out and about traveling.
Yeah.
And skincare was something that kept me grounded. It reminded me that, there was something that I could do every single day that I could
Hmm.
see results from. And I
Right.
always say that everyone has their thing. For some people, it's the 5 a.m. gym girlies. For
Hmm.
some people, it's the
Yes.
hiking and the outdoors or just a cup of tea. For me, it was skincare. Those 15 minutes of me time
That was
kept
your
me
time.
together.
Yeah.
It kept me together. And I had so many things going on, still dealing with grief, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with the
Mhm.
rest of my life, trying to kind of shield what I was going through from my family because I knew they just wouldn't get it. And, living off of my savings, also seeing my savings dwindle, like, girl, you need to come up with a plan because time is running out, time is running out.
I
So
get
it was
it.
all of these things. And, my skin was misbehaving because of the stress and all the anxiety. And skincare, I always say, really wheeled me back to self-care. But while I was traveling, I realized that my skin was behaving differently in all these different environments.
Okay.
So my skin behaved differently from when I was living in New York to when I was in the dry heat of Nevada to when I was in the humidity of the Caribbean. And that just sent me down a whole whirlwind of studying how environmental stressors affected our skin. And it allowed me to tap back into my little pre-med background. So the degree didn't go to full waste, we're just using it in a different context.
Wait. So what is your degree in?
Oh, that's a great place to circle back to. So my degree is forensics and pre-medicine. And my goal was to be a forensic coroner for the FBI. That was my goal since I was in high school.
Okay. So you've gone from a forensic coroner to now being a skincare maven and podcaster. Yeah, that's quite a journey.
Hello. A story.
Yes. But I will say one thing that's kind of in my mind as you were talking about like how you kind of made the shift, and especially while you're going through grief. And I understand because grief is definitely very powerful. Losing a father is very powerful. What do you think your dad would have said about the decision that you made to, just leave?
Oh, he's my writer. He would have been like, go ahead, girl, live it up. My parents are complete opposites because my mom is very, we got to think it through. Come on, let's be rational. My dad is very like, F it, go live your life.
See, that's how my dad was. So I get it. And I totally cannot. He would have loved that too. Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. He would have been though, like your dad probably would have been like, look, you got some savings. You can do this for a little bit, but you need to get yourself back to work.
Exactly. He would have given me 3 to 6 months. That's all you got, baby. It's 3 to 6 months. Figure it out.
I love that you did that. Do you feel like at any point in time when you made that decision, even though it led you to where you are with skincare, did you have a moment of doubt or regret? Or did you just feel like, you know what, I'm betting on me. I'm 100% in. It's all good.
Oh, self-doubt, absolutely every single day. I woke up like, was this the right decision? Like, what did I just walk away from? Am I going to be okay? And it was scary. And then again, I had this plan. So like I went through this period of confusion. I finally came back in January, like, okay, I have a plan. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm working towards. And then boom, global shutdown, pandemic. And it's like, well, what? It took me 6 months to come up with this plan. How are you going to do that, universe? What is happening?
Right. Because the universe wants to try your gangster. They want to really see if you're 100% committed to this plan. So how did that pandemic kind of shift you?
Yeah, so it was good and bad. So it was interesting. So I ended up getting married in 2019, end of 2019. Okay. Thank you. So during my travel journey, so there was so much going on, traveling, newlywed, and now we're in this pandemic season it's like, well, what a gift.
Right.
What a gift.
Yeah.
So, we're stuck in the house, we're spending all this time together, my plan is now upside down. So now I'm looking for virtual work because your girl done ran out all of her savings, wasn't planning for this.
Right.
The unemployment, the stimmies were hitting though. Not going to hold you.
Yeah,
they were hitting.
It was a time of many stimuluses to help us through. Yes.
Yeah. And then it really made me have to take another look into what self-care means to me. I had to be so much more intentional than I even was before. So it gave me the time to really sit and do this research like I was telling you about. So I really took that time to dig deep. So I was researching academic journals. I was doing all this research and about the environmental stressors, and I was going into the skin barrier and skin microbiome, and I'm looking up different scientific papers, and it put me on the right track for the trajectory of where I wanted this brand to go. So I feel like it gave me moments of clarity, but then almost also so much confusion because during this time, there was this entrepreneurship boom, everyone starting brands and businesses and coaching and crypto and real estate and all these different things that it began to cloud my judgment even. It was like, well, is this the right thing? Because there's just so many things to choose from. Everyone's a guru, everyone's an expert, everyone's a coach. And it really led me down some confusing times, especially when you have no guidance in this early seasons of entrepreneurship. I went through a lot of lessons, a lot of journeys, trusting the wrong people, putting money towards things that I shouldn't have, being conned out of money, and it set me back a lot. So when I tell people that Silkenn has been a ride and to finally be at this point is truly a blessing, it really is, because it's been 4 years in the making of just pure craziness.
Oh, wow.
For sure.
Yeah, I can imagine, because I'm not an entrepreneur. I do work corporately, but obviously have the business through the podcast and everything. And I agree, it's not for the weak. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of tenacity that it takes to be able to do it full time. And I'll be honest, especially after going through tragedy and trying to rebuild from taking your sabbatical and you're newly married, it's a lot of pressure on you. How do you stay rooted to know that this is the right path while all those things are coming at you?
So I love to say that when you have a vision that's been given to you, I believe in God. So that's kind of like what I'm referring to. Like when God gives you a vision and you just can't shake it, because I've tried to shake it multiple times. There have been multiple times where this does not make financial sense, girl. You are putting all this time and you're not seeing a return on your labor. Right. What are you doing? Like, are you serious? Like, girl, go back to the lab because this is not it, And it's like, but when you have this vision that you just can't shake, you just can't run from it. And that's really how I feel about my purpose for the brand and the podcast. Like, no matter how much I try to shake it, I just can't. And that, I think, is just that innate motivation I feel like you have when you're really called to something.
Yeah. I love that you have that kind of faith in yourself. And it takes a lot, like I said, to me to be able to get there. But I get exactly what you're saying, because you're right. That unshakable faith, that unshakable call on you is so powerful. I mean, it's hard, because I could only imagine, like you said, your mom she wasn't probably going to be as understanding, but she was more understanding than you thought. So when you finally had that conversation with her about, everything that had gone on, and to see where you are now, how does she feel? Like, what does she say to you now about the decisions that you made?
She is my number one supporter at this point. She is a ride or die hard Silkenn behind the silk girly. And it's funny, she's been on the podcast. Her and my aunt come on the podcast. Nice. They call themselves the aunties, and they're very supportive and they speak so highly of the brand. And, I think we're at a point now where we have conversations and she's like, I can see it now. And I think that's something that means so much to me, because it's hard when you have a vision in your head, but you can't explain it. You have nothing tangible to show about what you feel. So for the people around you who didn't see it, and even the brand isn't even in full fruition yet, because we're still pre-launch, but it's like for them to say that they see the vision and it makes sense to them now, that is such a rewarding feeling, and it makes me feel really good.
I'm glad, because I was going to say, having that wind behind you is definitely got to keep you motivated, because like you said, you're in that season now where you're building, you're getting ready to pre-launch. So can you kind of weave us through how, with you discovering a lot about environmental stressors in the skin, what products did it lead you to come up with? What are you launching with, so we know what to look for?
Yeah, so Silkenn is really inspired by the realities of city living. That's kind of our premise. And we really focus on skin barrier care by way of the skin microbiome. And to not make it too sciencey or complex, because I tend to do that. The microbiome is just the balance of the good and bad bacteria on your skin. And it really helps nurture the components that make up the skin barrier in the most simple form. So that's basically what we focus on. So we're launching with a biocomplex serum, and that basically it will have a bioferment microbiome complex of probiotics, prebiotic blend, and it's going to really nurture that good and bad bacteria to help replenish the microbiome so that we can repair the skin barrier. Because that's the biggest thing that we have to deal with when you live in high density population areas. We deal with air pollution, think of smog, and we have hard water in New York because our water is filtered so deeply. her so intensely. So all of those stressors that come with living in a high density population area is really what we cater to. So we have our serum, which really helps with the microbiome and our skin barrier. And then we have our face mask, which is an antioxidant based face mask. And that really helps. Again, we're going to clean out those pores, detox your skin, and give you an infusion of antioxidants to really help with that free radical damage that comes with that as well.
Oh, wow. I love a good face mask. So you totally had me as soon as you said that, because it is so hard to find one that really is nurturing, gentle. It sounds like, obviously it has all the good things that we need without any of that bad stuff to like strip all the moisture out of your skin, which is terrible.
I was going to say that non-drying, because that's the biggest, the biggest issue that I hear all the time is that it's too drying, and we don't want that.
Yeah, I right. And like I said, I'm a little bit more seasoned than you, so I love moisture. Like I drink my water, I want it to stay in the skin. So I love that. I love that you have made this path forward for yourself. And I wonder, how do you keep yourself rooted when you are about to launch? Like, what are you feeling right now? What are you feeling today?
It's an awkward sense of excitement and nervousness. It's the excitement because this has been in the making for so long, and I've been able to partner and work with some amazing people who've really helped to capture the vision and who have assisted me on my journey of getting the brand to this point. But nervousness because it's like, it feels like you're sacrificing your first child to the world. Like it's very much a sink or swim. You put so much work into this thing, and now you're finally presenting it to the world, Lion King style, and it's like, how are people going to feel about it? And you have to be open to positive and negative criticism. And I think it's for me mentally preparing myself for the good, because I do believe we have a great product. I believe we have a great brand. And I do believe that we're going to have good feedback based on all the testing that we've done in the focus groups, but then also being open to the negative, and that there's going to be room for improvement, and there may be pivots that we need to go along, and mentally preparing myself because this is my baby. I'm really protective about her.
I get it. I totally feel you. I'm like Ericka Badu. I'm an artist, and I'm sensitive about my ish. Like,
hello,
don't play with me. So I get it. I totally get it. You've given a lot of blood, sweat, and equity to this project and to the podcast. So I guess, when are you guys going to officially launch?
So we're hoping to launch at the end of this year. I don't want to put a date out there just yet because, I don't want any false expectations, but we're hoping by the end of this year. We're in a building season. We're raising capital right now, which is another crazy ride right now that we're on. Sure. But I'm really excited, and I'm really hopeful that we will be able to do that this year.
Oh, no, I think that's amazing. And I love that. I'll be honest, it's another Black-owned skincare brand coming out. Our skin needs are, to me, a little bit different, especially depending upon our melanin in our skin. So I think it's just really important to have those choices. So I'm really excited to support you as you are getting closer to it, and just let us know when you're ready, so that way we can share, any of the good details about what's going on, and definitely wishing you well in the venture capital side. Cause yes, it looks like a wild ride. When I read the news, I'm like, some wild streets out here trying to get funding.
It is. And I thank you for saying that, because, even the diversity aspect of it all, and being a Black woman and a founder, that was something that was very important to me with the brand when we were looking for people to do the focus groups and we were doing our testing, like making sure that we had partners that understood the importance of testing against melanated skin. We are so underrepresented in the industry, and we're typically we don't have these seats and the representation in order to do the testing that we need to do for our skin types. So, being able to find a group that could facilitate that and partner with someone who saw the vision and saw the importance of it the way that I saw it was super important. So
No, I love that you're able to, like I said, be in the space and have just such a command of it. Because you're right, it is still very underrepresented. And so the more women coming into the space need to be welcomed. And as consumers, we need to be supporting brands who understand what our skin needs are. So totally, I'm looking forward to trying your products. I guess a quick question. Now that your mom probably is thinking, does she see now the path of how your degree actually does apply to what you're doing? Because there is a path. It does apply.
Right? It does. And that's what I was trying to say before, 4 years ago, but they just wasn't getting it.
No,
That's what I was trying to say.
I know, but you have to go through a season where you have to leave other people's expectations of how you should live your life behind.
Absolutely. And that's the hard part, right? Because these are people that have such a say. They mean so much to you and you care about their feedback, but it's like, oh, you just don't get it just yet. And it's like, that's okay. They'll get it eventually. And eventually is arisen.
Absolutely. And I love that for you. And I was going to say along that line, as you've been through this journey and you've gotten to this point, what has been one of the most impactful things that you have learned about, standing in your vision on your journey of entrepreneurship?
Ooh. I think the biggest lesson I've learned has to do with building my team and who to partner with. Okay. I think in the beginning, I was very trusting of everyone because I'm like, I'm creating this thing and do you want to be a part of it? And I think I've learned that I have to be a lot more selective and a lot more protective of who I share my vision with, because if you share it with everyone, there's going to be, it waters it down. And not everyone's going to get it. And you'll have some people that want to come along and maybe want to come along for the wrong reasons. So it's made me a lot more protective of who I share my space with.
Totally get it. And I think a lot of people, you're right, don't really understand that. But it really is kind of like what you were saying. It's your baby. It's your child. So you have to think about, would you leave your child with Lottie-Dottie?
Exactly.
Everybody, but that's a hard lesson to learn because it can create heartbreak, from people that you trust, and I think some people experience that because we all want to build, like I've said to some of my friends, I'm in a season of my life where I want to build with the people that I love. And you have to be very cautious of that because the people that you love may not understand your vision or be able to receive it. And so it can lead to heartbreak. Have you ever encountered any situations where, it's like, yeah, we could be cool, we could be friends, I can love you, but you know what? I can't do business with you.
Oh, absolutely. So that's actually part of the Silkenn story. When Silkenn was first founded in its early days, I actually had a business partner. And that was a very short-lived partnership for maybe the first 2-3 months of the brand. Because we just weren't aligned on what the brand would look like. And, they always say it's good to have a co-founder, to have someone to bounce ideas off of. And I think I felt like I needed that. And when the relationship wasn't working out, and it's all fine now, but when the business relationship wasn't working out the way I thought it would, it was hurtful and it was scary because it's like I had in my mind, I was going to go through this journey with someone. Yeah. And then to be like, okay, well, I don't have that support anymore. Like, can you do this on your own? Like, are you capable of going on this journey by yourself? And then again, that self-doubt, it's like, ooh, I don't know. And I did step away for a couple months, but then came back and was like, you know what, like we can do this. And I think that's what also triggered me really seeking help from just anyone and everyone. And I think that led to me learning that lesson of, no, you got this, you can do this on your own. And I need you to have a lot more discernment and be a lot more selective with who we're going to go into business with and who we're going to partner with on this journey, because not everyone is meant to come on the journey with you, even though it may be coming from a good place, right? Because you'll have the subtleties where people want to come in and make small suggestions like, oh, like this is a cool idea, but what if we tweak it this way? And it's like, well, that's a good idea, but no, I don't really think that's aligned with the vision that is here. And being able to stand firm on that is a learning lesson as well.
Yeah, I was telling a friend of mine earlier that I'm at this season of my life. I have to stand on business about myself professionally, but also personally. And it's tough because you do, like you said, you wind up having to leave some people behind, unfortunately, maybe from a business perspective, not necessarily relational friendship, but you just realize that just certain things you're just not going to get. And you know what? I'm cool. I don't need you to get it as long as I get it. Have you, along that line, because you mentioned it earlier, like you said, the self-doubt and the fears start to come in. And I know, I'm very honest, I'm in therapy. Actually, I went back to therapy this year because I have limiting beliefs, and my limiting beliefs are stopping me from being able to move and execute my brand and other projects in the way that I want. So I'm working on reprogramming that in therapy. And so I was wondering for yourself, because as someone as young, and I say that truly with respect and deference, to be so self-aware of your limits and of your fears and of your doubts and how they might have a role in what you do. I am very curious how you check in with yourself to control your limiting fears so that you can be as audacious as you are.
Girl, therapy and Jesus. that is the secret sauce. Therapy and Jesus. Like I've been in therapy off and on since I was in college. I went to the University of New Haven. Shout out to the Chargers. But they've always been very big on providing mental health resources for us. And, we love free. So that was something I took advantage of.
Yes,
for
I don't blame you. Yes.
So being able to, I think, to start being aware of some of those things at a younger age. I went to college super young. I started college at 17 and graduated before I was even old enough to drink legally. So, I've been like very ahead of the curve. So I think having those conversations so young has really helped me mature into my adulthood, and it has helped make me a lot more self-aware. And girl, crying, praying, yelling at Jesus, just going through the trenches, just going through the emotional roller coaster. Because again, like you can't control when these things happen. And sometimes it can be the most random thing. I joke with my friends all the time. Like sometimes I will be in the shower and just break out in tears. And it's like, girl, what are we crying about? What's going on? What's happening?
Are they happy tears? Are you just like, you need a release?
It's a release. And I think it varies because sometimes they're good emotions. Like things are just so good. I can't believe we're in this place. And then it's like, and on the same flip side, it's like, am I qualified to be in this place?
Yeah.
And it's hard, like as you're elevating and as you're going into now, I'm stepping into rooms nowadays that like I couldn't see myself in 2 years ago. That just seems so unattainable. And it's like, and comparison is also a very big thing. Like I said, a lot of big brands came out of the pandemic, and I remember feeling so pressured. Like this is the time. It's it's this economic boom between 20 and 2022, and I felt like I had missed my mark. Like all the VC capital in the world has gone away. All the Black-owned brands have already launched, and you've missed your turn. And it's like, girl, their story is not your story, and that's okay. There's more money out there, there's more opportunity out there, and there's no need for you to compare yourself to anyone else.
Yes. But again, like I said, it's a very self-aware process, a very self-aware stance for you to be in at this season of your life. So I know that you will be successful if you keep that, because at my age, it typically is where we are now just starting to feel free. Now you start to own yourself more and you worry less. But for you to be this young and to feel that already and to be so steadfast about yourself and aware, that's a good indication that you're going to be just fine as life starts to life, because life is going to life and you got to just keep pressing and doing it. So I love that for you. Now, I know self-care, you mentioned, is also a part of the podcast. That really is like the extension. So what are you doing for self-care right now?
Ooh, what am I doing for self-care right now? That's a great question. And I've been trying to stay very grounded in that, but I'm trying to become a workout girly. I'm still a little bit in my gym gear today.
Nice.
So yeah, I think, the skincare stuff, that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think it's the small things. I realize like not having your hair done and not having your nails done for me is like a setup for a depressive moment. I know that I feel better when the hair is laid, the nails are done. So I think taking care of myself physically and getting that movement in is like my daily release, but on like a longer term basis, making sure I look good, because when I look good, I feel good, and you show up differently in the world. You sit a little taller when you feel like you look good.
You do. Oh, you totally do. Because I don't know about you, but like during the pandemic, I lived in athleisure, like to the point where I was like, when the pandemic is over,
no clothes.
I mean, like I'm going to Trader Joe's and all the finery that I've got in this closet, because I was still shopping. Sales were popping back then. You could get some really cute stuff. And so I have like a closet full of cute stuff, because all I was wearing was athleisure, and I had a little cap, a little knitted cap. I wore that for at least the first 3 to 6 months. So I get it, how you're feeling, but I'm glad that you are giving yourself that. Is there anything else though, like any other routines that you kind of do to set yourself up just to make sure that you're balanced and have self-care?
Yeah, I think also I've been really sticking to like my meditation and journaling time. I think that's a very good time that I appreciate, where I really connect. And I know a lot of people are morning people in the self-care industry. I am not. I am a night owl. I am not a morning girly. So like evenings and my nights are when like I do all of those things. Like that's when I
Right.
journal. That's typically when, I read my Bible and I journal and I do all of these
Mhm.
things. So that's when I just feel like the most calm. I think in the morning for me, it's like I'm thinking about all the things I need to get done in the day. So even
Same.
though like I'm present, like I don't feel like I'm fully present because like my mind is elsewhere. But at
Yeah.
night, when I know I'm just looking forward to sleep, I feel a lot more relaxed and receptive. So journaling, meditation at night is like my wind down with a glass of wine because we like that too.
Oh, yes, agree. And there's nothing wrong with a good glass of wine, help you out. Wine, tea, water, we do it all here. And it's good for your
Mm-hmm.
heart and probably for your
Yep.
system. So awesome. I'm so glad that you are like feeding into yourself. Now, I like to ask random questions. That's really important to me. But before I do that, I do have another question. I just thought about that for the podcast. Like, when do you release? Like, what is your schedule? So that way we can support the podcast.
Yes, your girl has been consistent and I'm really proud of myself. So every
You go.
Monday,
Yes.
okay, we release every Monday without fail. We have a mix of solo episodes, guest episodes, we have some friend episodes, some expert episodes. We have a mix of it all. So if you need some like true advice from like professionals in their industry, or if you just want some girl chat, some tea, we cover it all. We touch all areas.
I love it. And we'll definitely make sure in the show notes that I put the schedule, and I'm assuming you're on all streaming platforms as well.
Yes, we
Aw-
are.
Awesome. So that way we can support, because I do, like I said, I feel like there's enough space for out here for all of us.
Yeah.
And everybody should have options. So I'm just really excited to welcome you and support you in the journey. So definitely looking forward to listening. So
Thank
then
you.
now I go into my random questions because I'm random. I like to ask random. So for myself, I have a word of the year. I have like three, and they are unshakable, audacious, and expansion. Those are like my three
Mm.
words of 2024. Do you have a word of 2024 or words?
Just do it has been my word. It's the Nike logo. Just do it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I spent so many years just worried about public perception and how my decisions are going to be perceived by other people. Even with starting the podcast, that was such a big roadblock for me. Like, if
Wow.
y'all knew the things that were going through my head on a daily basis, and now y'all telling me to go on a microphone and say my thoughts out loud, I am not trying to get canceled this year.
No, but that's perfect. That's a good foundation for a podcast.
Yeah, so just do it. That's been a huge
Okay.
overcoming for me. Getting on camera, recording the
Yes.
podcast, going to networking events and being more social. I am very much especially when it was like darker before daylight savings times. 11 o'clock, if I'm inside, the wig is off, the bra is off. Don't call me. Don't
I
text me.
get
I'm
it.
not going. I'm not going.
I totally feel you. I struggle with that. So I need to glean some of that energy from you about the
Yeah.
networking, because I work from home. So I just want to be at home
Hmm.
all the time. It's
Yeah.
just frightening. Get it.
So I just want to do all the things that I've been fearful of, that I've been concerned about, or just had hesitation towards. Like, just do
Uh-huh.
it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work out. Oh, well, pick it
I
up.
love it. I love that. I definitely look forward to seeing you just continue to do it. And so along that line with the words, I believe music is like the soundtrack of our lives. And so what song right now currently gets you hyped and just keeps you in the zone to just go out here and just do it?
Okay.
You can say it, whatever.
I was in the gym earlier today, and like this song just had me so hype, and it was really
Okay.
resonating with me. Push it. Is it Kevin Gates? Push it, go get the money, go get the money. However that song go, whoever sing it.
That is OT Genesis.
OT Genesis. Okay,
OT
yes, there we go.
Genesis.
One of them.
Yes.
That's my hype song for the year.
I don't know if you have seen on TikTok, and I have a couple of friends who have sent it to me. There's a meme of it where it's like this cartoon stick character, and they're in their car talking about, I gotta go get the money,
Yes.
And they're twerking in the car so that they can hype themselves up to go to work every day.
I love it.
It is the best. Yes, I like that song.
A true
too.
hype song.
Yes, that because you got to go get it. You got to go.
Gotta go get it.
Totally respect it. And so, okay, so you're just doing it. You're out here just pushing it to the limit. You got to go get the money and get it done. What is one thing that you would want to tell my audience that you have not told them today about you or about your brand, about what you stand for?
That's a very deep question. And I think I would say that I really have a heart for people. You know, obviously Silkenn is a for-profit brand. Like, yes, we are in the business of making money. That's how you stay in business. Right. But we really care about people. And, you know, that's another big part of the brand is our philanthropic efforts. You know, when I was deciding what I wanted the brand to stand for and what we wanted to contribute to, because I also believe that our businesses are responsible for tithing as well. You know, we decided to partner with like local organizations and really combat that homelessness and the affordable housing crisis in inner cities. And I feel like that was just something that was so in line with, you know, having a skincare brand inspired by city living. And that's something that I'm really excited about, being able to take this journey and some of the partnerships that we have that we're going to be announcing later this year. And just to see the excitement on some of these people's faces, you know, being able to kind of go into their environment and hear their stories and how they've gotten to where they are and how they plan on overcoming it. I mean, that has been like a motivational thing for me in and of itself. So outside of, you know, Silkenn being such a bomb brand, just from a scientific formulation branding aspect, like we really have a heart for people. And I just think that that's something that really helps us stand out and just really speaks to, you know, my character. And I'm just glad that I was able to weave that into the brand in some way.
I'm really excited about that. I love to hear philanthropy in business, because you're right. I mean, that's what business is for, is to make a profit, but to be able to sew it back into the people in such a way, I think that's a beautiful thing. And I look forward to seeing how it expands and continues to grow. That's truly the importance of giving back. So I have 2 more questions for you. First question. You know, if I'm thinking here, and one of the things what I do with guests is I like to, you know, come up with a title and think about, you know, how I would sum it up based upon our conversation. And you are so steadfast. You are obviously a just do it kind of person. You're out here pushing the limits and getting it done. What if you were to describe yourself, your journey from beginning to where you are now? What is one word or phrase that you would use to describe you?
Resilient. Through and through, you know, like even from when I was young, like I always joke about it, like even from my rudimentary days, like my birthday falls in January. Yeah. So I started school. You could either start school a year early or a year late, because my birthday's in the middle of the school year. And my parents started me early. So I was always the youngest person in my class. So teachers always thought that I was going to be the most behind. I went to PWIs all my life. So that was like an added layer of it all. And then, you know, going to PWI University and fighting for my spot in, you know, scholarships and all of these things. And then coming into a world where now I'm starting a business, I'm trying to penetrate the market and raise capital in a system that really wasn't built for us. Right. You know, there's just been so many ebbs and flows and waves. And I think throughout my entire life, I've always had to be resilient, because I've heard so many more no's than I have yeses. And it's really easy to really get trapped in the woe is me when you get those no's, but to kind of be like, you know, it's all right, we're going to dust ourselves off. And I think I really accredit my dad for that, because he was just that kind of guy. He's like, no biggie. It is what it is. You know, we're on to the next thing. Right. Next. You know, and that's just the spirit that he had. And I think that's something that I really embody. So I would say resilient is my word.
I love that. And I think your father would be incredibly proud of you. I know your mother is already your number one fan, but I'm sure he is looking down on you and is so excited and proud about what you are doing and what you will do. So I'm very excited to, like I said, support and encourage you. And then my final question for you is, okay, ma'am, now's your time. Don't worry, though. I'm going to put all of this in the show notes. Tell us how we can like, share, follow you. Where can we find you at all times?
Yeah, so you can follow Silkenn on Instagram. That's Silkenn with 2 N's, SILKENNCO. .com is also a website where you can sign up for our waiting list and be in the know. We have some really big things coming, big partnerships, big in-person events. You just want to be there. Okay. If you want to hear me talk on a weekly basis and hear me ramble on a microphone, you can follow the podcast at Behind the Silk pod on all social media platforms, Behind the Silk on all streaming platforms. And if you're interested in catching up with me, I've been, social and consistent on my Instagram. So you can follow me at Instagram at the Ericka Nicole. That's Ericka, Ericka, because I'm extra special. So we just put both the letters in there.
Love it. That's right.
And that's all I got.
Awesome. I really want to thank you again for taking the time to sit down with me. It has truly been a pleasure. I'm so inspired by what you are doing and what you are going to do. So you're part of the fam now. So at some point in time, I will probably call on you and say, hey, let's talk again. Let's regroup. Let's see where you are, because we want to keep in touch. There are so many wonderful women in the space. I truly believe that this is an open, safe space for you. So if you need us, we're here. When we want to work again with you, we will be there again. And I just look forward to continuing to watch you shine.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Like, your words just mean so much. Aww. I feel so seen and so heard. And I just want to really, really give you your flowers in this moment.
Oh, thank you so much. That means the world to me. Believe me. I'm like I said, I'm super inspired by you, super inspired. So I hope all of you who have been listening are super inspired as well. So I will make sure that I share all of Ericka's information in the show notes. And I hope you all have a great rest of the weekend. I'll be back next week with another new episode. And Ericka, thank you again for your time. It's been a pleasure. Your light, your energy, you're amazing. And take care, you guys. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.